United stand. It wasn't a dream. It's real. Manchester United. Oh, I just feel so happy again this morning, and I don't want it to stop. But we have got a big game on Saturday, and we need to work towards that. And I like the words of Marcus Rashford. It's a great performance, but it's just a step in. Well, actually, his exact words were, "It's a good performance, but there's still a lot to build on." And I think that's the truth of where we are. I think also Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There's going to be lots of people talking about how we beat PSG. What was the secret weapon? I think the secret weapon was identified by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when he said, we've got a few possibilities in how we can play now. And I think that is it. How we played that game yesterday, how we played against Newcastle. We've seen 3 different formations in 2 games. And the big problem Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got, amongst a few other problems, is the fact that he's got a huge squad. He's got a huge squad now, and he's got a lot of players who deserve to be playing in games. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But the big thing for me, and I said it last night and I'll say it again, we'll never have to talk about that night in Paris where we scored that penalty with Marcus Rashford anymore, because I never felt comfortable about it. It was a good night in Paris. We knocked PSG out, but the next round was the quarterfinals and Barcelona embarrassed us. And also that night in Paris when we knocked them out with the penalty, they dominated us. We did the typical part the bus smash and grab. We didn't play particularly well. We won the game, but last night we went there, and the only sad thing for me is that there wasn't fans, there wasn't an away support there to go and, to see it, because we played very, very well in that game. We played tactically well, we were good on the ball, we were exciting. It was actually, I've seen us park the bus against City and Chelsea before, and I've not enjoyed watching it. I've enjoyed the result, but I've not enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed watching it last night. I felt proud of Manchester United and the players and what Ollie achieved last night, and I want that to continue. Freddy's a red. Are you proud as he shut down the haters? Marks as realist AC. I think Fred. What I want to say is, we've got to be very, very careful about. Consistency is going to be the big thing. We've got to be very careful about what happens here, because it's only I would imagine there's people who are Ollie out who are still Ollie out, and I respect that, because why are you changing your mind after one game? Surely you've got courage in your conviction that you had a bigger. It wasn't just a flippant thing to go, I want this manager out. So you've probably got to stay with that, and I respect that. And what I would say to those people is, look, you're a Manchester United fan. You should be very happy with what happened last night. And if we play like we did over the last 2 games, every game of the season, we'll win the league and the Champions League. So why would you be Ollie out? Of course, that's not going to happen. Manchester United's big issue is consistency. And we're only as good as the last game. And Chelsea are coming up on Saturday night. Lampard should be under more pressure than Ollie, I think. He's not winning games. He's had a lot more money. And it's a very difficult game for us. It reminds me of the Spurs game in the fact that, look, I'm going into it with confidence. It's at Old Trafford. But things could go wrong. And they're good enough to beat us. So we've got that again on Saturday night. Hopefully we're celebrating another win. But if we're not, then the doubts will come back, because we had a bad start to the season. We've won 2 games and we've lost 2 games in the league. So we need to win at the weekend. And then after that, you've got RB Leipzig, who won 2-0 last night. Then you've got Arsenal, who've been very good. Then you've got Everton. So this, like Rashford said, like you've been saying, this is just another step in the right direction. But as we know with Manchester United, consistency is the problem. And we can always slip back, and we don't want that to happen. So consistency is key. My favourite part of that game is Tuanzebe. We all knew a fast centre-back was a major issue, and I'm over the moon for that performance as Hamza. And Tellez may not be available for Chelsea due to health. He had snake in his pocket, and it's being tested whether it was poisonous or not, says Vic out. Vic out, you little shit. You panicked me there. I thought it was genuine. We're going to talk about who's injured. It's Eric Bailly. But what I wanted to say as well is, the consistency will be the issue. Of course it will. And what I'm going to say about Tuanzebe is very little, other than he was amazing last night, and I'm not going to say anything else. You know why I'm not going to say anything else? I don't want to jinx it, because Ollie was talking about him last night. He says we've always known for years about the talent of Axel Tuanzebe. Not only is he a fantastic player, he's a brilliant leader as well. But I remember a player called Ledley King at Spurs, who was a fantastic centre-back who just couldn't get fit. And I'm just worried about Tuanzebe, because he is in his early 20s now, and he's not able to stay fit for a long time. If he can stay fit for a long time, he'll be England's centre-back. He'll be better than Maguire. He'll be a £80 million centre-back. He's that good. He'll be better than him and what's his name at Liverpool will probably be the 2 centre-backs, Gomez. He's an absolutely fantastic centre-back. And my only concern is injury. Is he is he going to get through his injury problems? And that's it. I'm not saying anything else because we've had our fingers burnt so many times. This player's going to be this player's going to be that. He's played one game. He's been out for a year. I mean, I still think it's suspicious. Why was he out for a year? That's a bloody long time. What was the injury? And I just worry about Tuanzebe because he was superb last night. And I saw a clip just before I came live as well, and it was Cavani and Tuanzebe training together, and Cavani's talking to him like this, and you just think, what was that conversation about? Was he telling him about how players play because he's been at PSG for years? But look, Tuanzebe can be fantastic. We've just got to hope that he doesn't get injured because, of course, if you might have missed it last night, best performance for the last few years, Mark. Love the watch along and post-match analysis. Great night, says Josh. We had a fantastic night last night. I really enjoyed it. And I would just come back on what Josh said there as well. Got loads to talk about this morning. That is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best game. That is his redemption. Redemption is, righting wrongs of the past. And I think one thing that's always been levelled at Ole, and I would level it as well, is he tactically astute in a match? Does he make changes quick enough? I think actually he's a little bit similar to Pochettino. Pochettino takes his time. He's quite stubborn. Ole did that substitution very early last night and it won us the game. And for me, that was the moment. But that performance, that's his best managerial performance in his career. Forget what you did at Mulder and Cardiff and anything like that. This is Manchester United, mate. That is definitely our best performance, Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, I know we've beaten Man City. I know we've beaten Chelsea. I know we've had some really good games. But that was PSG in Paris. All right, they had a few injuries, but so did we. They still had their best players on the pitch, and we went toe-to-toe with them, and we totally deserved to win. You can get a result and not deserve to win. I think those Man City results and those Chelsea results, they were results, but were they totally good performances where we deserved to win? I would argue not. Last night was our best performance and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best game. And that, to me, showed that Manchester United are back in the big time. The question is, how long can we stay there? Because consistency is the key. But that's what we're waking up to this morning. That's what we're taking in today. Manchester United's best performance under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And arguably, one of our best performances since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. But definitely Ole's best game. And what a great thing that is to be waking up to, like I say. Beating PSG is great, but we must follow this up with a win against Chelsea, says Benjamin Anderson. I totally agree with you on that one. I think we should all agree that Fred should start as our CDM every game. He brings that tenacity and engine of Kante. McSauce isn't a starter for me, says Hamza. And 20-10-20, Manchester United win big against PSG. 20-10-20, Manchester United fans die while trying to win big against hashtag EndSARS in Nigeria. Pray for us, says Naja. Yes, a very important message about what's going on in Nigeria. Look, people are dying out there. It's horrific to see, and it's like anything, isn't it? You get hashtag EndSARS, you see it all over Twitter, and it's fantastic that people are making those statements. But what's the rest of the world doing? We're all focused on COVID, and I say we. I'm talking about governments here. What's going on over there is murder of innocent people by a regime that is out of control. And, we've been to war for less than this. So what is the world governments doing? I'm not just talking about the UK. I'm talking America. I'm talking Russia. I'm talking China. Like, what are people doing? There's people with very, very big powers in this world. And what's going on in Nigeria is a disgrace. And it just feels like, Igalo was talking about it after the match last night. It feels like people, if it doesn't fit the political thought of the day, it's left. But this is people dying. It's unacceptable. So thank you very much for bringing that to the attention. I was going to mention it in relation to what Igalo had said. It's on my notes here. But no, you're right. You're absolutely right. And something needs to be done. And look, in total honesty, a hashtag on Twitter, much like hashtag Glazers Out, and in no way am I comparing Glazers Out to what's going on because people are dying. But what I am saying is, hashtag on Twitter, it makes people aware, but we can't solve it. We can't stop it. A hashtag on Twitter isn't going to stop it. It's an outrage, and it makes it public. It's a bit like what happened with Black Lives Matter. A movement can start something off. But we need the governments of this world to do something about it because people are dying and it's not acceptable. Very serious message there. But look, Igalo was talking about it after the match last night, as I put in my notes, and something does need to be done about that. But look, without moving on from that and saying it doesn't matter, because it clearly does, lots to talk about Manchester United. And I was talking about consistency. Now, this is something that I think needs to be very, very high up. In fact, I wish I'd opened the show about it, because Manchester United have done fantastically well at the moment, but consistency is what's going to be the key. Ollie's spoken about it a lot. You've spoken about it a lot. The players have spoken about it a lot. Very good performance against Newcastle. Very fantastic performance against PSG. Consistency, right? We're playing Chelsea at the weekend. Their club backed their manager. Our club didn't back our manager. None of his signings are his first choice signings. Van der Beek, if Van der Beek was Jack Grealish, he'd have played a lot more games because it was what Ollie wanted. I like Van der Beek. We'll talk about it in a minute. Telles, I don't know. I mean, Telles looks very good. Maybe he was a first choice for Ollie, but I don't think he was, because I think we wanted Reguilon. Cavani wasn't even on the list, and obviously he didn't get a right winger and a centre-back. So consistency, this is what Ollie's up against. We must always keep this in our head this season, because if we'd got beat 5-0 last night, a lot of people would have been Ollie out. I still would have been saying this is what happens when you don't back your manager. So just because we've won, and I said it when we won titles under the Glazers, just because you win games doesn't mean the Glazers are good owners. They haven't backed this manager, and I think it makes it very, very sad going into the games that we've got ahead of us, that these clubs that we're going to play, Chelsea, Arsenal, Everton, have all been backed by their boards, but ours hasn't. And that hinders your consistency. So I'm just throwing it out there. It doesn't take anything away from what Ollie's done and the players have done. It's fantastic. But we should have a better squad than we've got. The squad that we've got at the moment is doing a good job, but imagine what happened if we got the players that Ollie needed. You know, imagine if we had Tuanzebe, but we also had another centre-back, because I want to talk about Maguire in a moment as well. And the second thing that feeds into consistency is, one, obviously the board not backing Ollie hinders consistency somewhat, makes his job harder, doesn't make it impossible. But the second thing is the fitness department. And I spoke about this before the PSG. Eric Bay's out now for 4 weeks. I don't think that's on the fitness department. I think that's on something else. But the fitness department need to step up to the plate. Every October for the last decade, we've been losing players. And going into this game, we've got Greenwood out, Maguire out, Lingard out, Bailly out, Cavani's not quite fit. That fitness department cannot not deliver players for Ollie over the next few weeks, because we need as many people fit as possible, because if they're not, it makes Ollie's job harder. So consistency is going to be really, really key for United. And as I said, we're only going to be as good in this period as our last result. If we get beat by Chelsea on Saturday, PSG and Newcastle don't mean anything. So we've got to take it into this. And it creates big problems. Is it weird to say that the result against Spurs was what we needed? Almost, because the response has been fantastic. Come on, United, says Joanne. Sometimes you've got to fall to get back up. I agree with that. But what I want to say is that Ollie's got a massive problem now. And there's two things Ricky said on his fan cam yesterday, and I know some of you will see it, but there's two things he said. One, that Donny van der Beek has got to start against Chelsea. He deserves a start. And two, we can't play with three up front anymore. Which means we can't, and I agree, we can't play with three up front anymore. This Rashford, Martial, Greenwood thing makes us defensively weak. And I always liked it, but I saw it against Newcastle, and I saw it again last night. We don't need three players. We haven't seen, the thing is, we haven't got any wingers anyway. We didn't get Sancho, and Greenwood's not a winger, and Rashford's not a winger, and Dan James, is Dan James. You don't know what you're going to get with Dan James. So why do we occupy two of our positions with players that we don't have? This front three, I'd bin it. I think you've got to go with the front two from now on, and you've got to build a diamond or what you did against Newcastle, where you've got a 4, a 2, a 3, a 1, and in your 3, it's not really wingers. It's people like Bruno, Mata, Van der Beek, Pogba, maybe Dan James sometimes. But I think this is the way to go. And look, it means you're going to have to put a Greenwood or a Rashford or a Martial on the bench. But I think it's the way to go, because that front three doesn't provide the defensive support you need at this level. So I think that's really important. I love the show. Can you please call my mate Ben a Pratt, says Kieran Brennan 100. Ben, you're a Pratt, apparently, says Kieran. And the second thing about Van der Beek. Should Van der Beek start against Chelsea? Now, I get what Ricky's saying on that, but actually, this is a big problem for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But it's a positive problem, because I tell you what, I said this before the game, and I wasn't just doing it to build the excitement. PSG against Manchester United last night was the big game of the week in world football. Everybody would have been watching that, from China to America to Italy to Mexico. Everybody would have watched that game. It's Neymar, it's Mbappe, it's Manchester United, it's PSG. It's the big game of the week. when we played that game last night, the reputation of Manchester United for the first time in many years to a global audience will be, they look good. They look good. We haven't looked good for a long time. Under Mourinho, under Van Gaal, we got results, but we didn't play well. Ajax, when we won the Europa League, we didn't play particularly well. We got the job done. That's what Mourinho does. Last night was the first time in many years that I think people would watch Man United and go, they're a good team. They're quite exciting. You know, look at that Tuanzebe, Wan-Bissaka. Bloody hell. Pogba was on the bench. Van der Beek was on the bench. Look at Fred. Look at, you know, Rashford and Martial. They're exciting. I mean, De Gea, brilliant in goal. We put in a performance last night that makes us proud as United fans, but will also do us wonders as a club, which we haven't done for years and years. And the big statement would have been, we went and did that, and Pogba's on the bench, and Van der Beek's on the bench. The message that sends out to the rest of the world is that Manchester United are back. And we are back. We're not back winning titles, but we are back in the Champions League. We are back as a contender. And as I said, the question's going to be how long we can stay there. Pogba came on with a smile on his face and did well. I'll tell you what, Paul Pogba's still not match fit. He's not match fit. Even in that 20-minute cameo yesterday, he is not match fit. He isn't. And that's a good thing, because he's not. There's something not quite right with Pogba, and I don't know whether it's just general match fitness or he's carrying something, but you can tell he's not quite right yet. The intelligence is there, the football intelligence is there, but the body's not quite smooth as it should be. So that's a good thing. Pogba seems to be responding quite well to not starting games. Van der Beek, I mean, look, he must have the patience of a saint. I do feel sorry for Donny van der Beek, because I don't think he's done anything wrong. But tactically last night, you couldn't play Van der Beek, you couldn't play Pogba, and you couldn't play Mata if you were going to pick Bruno. So that, to me, is fine. What he does against Chelsea at the weekend, well, Mata deserves to start. McTominay, Fred, Bruno deserves to start. Pogba will be knocking on the door. Donny van der Beek deserves to start. Obviously, Martial will come out. Rashford will play. How he constructs that team against Chelsea, it's a massive problem for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And again, we'll see the team news and we'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe he's done that. But instead of the last 6 years where team news was coming out and we're going, oh, we bloody idiot, blah, blah, blah. I think what we're doing now is we're seeing a team come out and we're going, wow, I would have done this, I would have done that. I think he's got that wrong. But it's in a good way, because it's after good results. So, look, Solskjaer's created his own problem, but it's a good problem to have. He's got a massive problem against Chelsea. How does he play? Who does he pick? But this just shows that the players are playing for him and that they want to play. I mean, Mata surely starts against Chelsea, but then again, does he? It's a great problem to have. It really, really is. And of course, the big issue is Harry Maguire. This shows how much we have grown since Ollie took over. We went from scraping a win in 2019 to winning and deserving it, says Matthew Morella. We just need to be consistent now and start building in this form. And Abik says, if you could add one player who solidifies this, changes the course of the season, plus next few years, who would you choose? Upamecano or Sancho, if possible, says Abik. I think I would probably still bring Sancho in, because I still think Sancho could have played for Manchester United last night. I think he could have played in the front two, and obviously he could play in the diamond. But at the moment, Upamecano probably would suit us a little bit better, because, I mean, there's a lot of names going around for Tuanzebe. I've heard Twanzic, Twanos, Twanzese, Baresi, Twandini. You know, they're all going to happen, aren't they? We win more, as long as it's not Twan Knowns, work it out, or Tawning. We win more than when Razzie and Martial try for goal from outside the box, not that fiddling into the box, says Kim Dongart. Well, I just want to say, I want to bring in here about Fred, Tuanzebe, says Emils. The great thing about Tuanzebe is you can do so much with his name. Twaran, Twamos, bit like Twanos, Twan Dijk. That's a good one, Twan Dijk. You know, Van Dijk is a very good player, plays for Liverpool, and he's injured now. Twan Dijk can step into the gap for 8 months. But he's fantastic anyway, as Misty says. But I just want to talk about agenda, because we've spoken about agenda a lot for the last few weeks. And I think agenda is really, really important, because I feel that there's an Ollie agenda. I feel that there's a Pogba agenda. And I think as a fan base, I really want to try and drill this in when we're on a high. Why do we need agenda? Why do we need to have an agenda? I mean, Fred was fantastic last night. Mobility in that team was fantastic last night. But I came out of that game and I saw I think it was Manchester Evening News player ratings, a 6 for Bruno Fernandes and a 6 for Anthony Martial. The Martial one I can sort of understand, but 6 for Bruno Fernandes. He had the most touches, he played the most passes, he made the most tackles, and he had the most shots. is that not a complete performance? Now, I don't think Bruno had his best game, but I thought as a captain, he was absolutely brilliant. He never shut up. He never stopped dictating. He kept things simple at times, which is why he made the most passes and had the most touches. Of course, his shooting wasn't brilliant. The pressure of that second penalty, which was justified because Navas did cheat to save it. And most tackles as well. He put a shift in. I thought to give him 6 out of 10. I mean, whoever did those player ratings must live up Harry Maguire's arse, because I thought it was brilliant, Bruno Fernandes last night. Understated, expected, and everybody else deserved. Tuanzebe, Wan-Bissaka, Fred, a lot of other people deserved more praise than Bruno. But what a captain's performance, what a leadership performance, and the stats back that up. He was everywhere, involved in everything, and I think that set the tone. I think the team responded to Bruno and played like Bruno. I think everybody was everywhere. Everybody did most things right, and the mobility and attitude of that team was superb. So look, and as for Martial, yes, he scored an own goal, but if you take that away, I thought he had a really good game. He won as the penalty. There was a bit of individual brilliance in the first half where he skipped past 4 players and shot wide. He'd have had a goal if Bruno had passed that ball to him for a tap-in. He held the ball up well. Him and Rashford, look, I don't think him and Rashford had their best game, but their work rate was fantastic and they terrified that defence. And look, you take the goal away from Rashford and I think Rashford would have been a 6 out of 10. I mean, Ollie himself said the chance that Rashford scored was the hardest one of the lot. And we know, I was going mad in the game. He kept wasting opportunities, but what did we say? It wasn't about an agenda against Rashford or an agenda against Martial. And these people who call Rashford Trashford and, and are supposedly Man United fans, I don't get that. Martial and Rashford never should have been subbed. I know Martial did come off at the end, but the game was won. They never should have been subbed, no matter, even if they'd had a crap game, because who are you going to bring on? Agarlo or Dan James? We needed Martial and we needed Rashford in that game, and they did their job. They did. If you speak to Ollie or anybody, they'd be over the moon with them because they terrified that back too. We could have won it, and Ollie's right. The only thing is we could have won it by more, and maybe we should have done. But I thought they were a massive part of that game, and the longer they stayed on, the better, and eventually it caved in with the Rashford goal. We can finally play with the back 5 with Tellers at left back instead of Williams. To the end, they subbed him off for Pogba for 4 Diamond. Midfield, your thoughts, says Russell Minard. And some pundits were saying that PSG side were not the same, which played the final. They are not giving Man United the credit we deserve for last night's performance. I don't care. Of course there's going to be people saying that. I don't care. And which is why you're only as good as your last game. Because what are they going to say if we go and beat Chelsea? I don't really care what people say about whether that was PSG's best side. It had Neymar, it had Mbappe, Idrissa Gueye, and Herrera were in midfield. They're good players. Di Maria was there. They had a couple of players out. We didn't get backed in the summer, so whatever. I think that we played really well last night, but I'm not going to dwell on what some bitter pundits say. I don't care what they say. We won the game. We got 3 points. There's no VAR. There was no cheating. We won the game. We deserved it. We're going to go and play Chelsea on Saturday. Keep crying about PSG. I've forgotten. I'm moving on with the positivity from it because I want to beat Chelsea now. That's where my focus is, and that's where it needs to be. Imagine if our board was any good, we could have Haaland, Sancho, and Upamecano capable of winning the league with them in the squad under Ollie, in my opinion, says Andrew Carroll. Well, look, yeah, we must never lose sight of the fact that the board didn't help us, and they didn't. But what do you do with Harry Maguire? I do want to speak about this for a minute or two. What do you do with Harry Maguire now? Now, he's injured. And I actually think he might be better off being injured for another couple of weeks. And I know that sounds bad, and I'm not wishing the injury on him, and I do like Harry Maguire, but me and Ricky were talking about it on the fan cam last night, if you didn't see Ricky's. And, to be fair, Ricky said, you made a good point there. If we'd played with Harry Maguire last night, would we have got that same outcome? Lindelof, Shaw, Tellez, Tuanzebe, and Wan-Bissaka, but especially Tuanzebe, Shaw and Lindelof, mobile. Very mobile. And is Maguire that mobile? No, he's not. Did PSG put balls into the box or have anybody of height? No. I don't think Maguire would have suited that game yesterday, and I think that suited us. And also, because he didn't play, Bruno was captain, and I think the team responded to that. It was a very mobile, confident, expressive performance that we haven't seen. And it's not fair to level it all at Harry Maguire. Of course it's not. But would we have got that United performance with Harry Maguire last night? And I don't actually bluntly think we would have done. We might have done, but I don't think we would have done. I think so much of it was about the mobility of the team. And also I think Matic, if he'd played, we wouldn't have had the mobility in the midfield. So you almost can say Matic and Maguire, because we were so mobile and the team played with the freedom. It didn't seem to play with a nervousness. It didn't play with any constraints of the past. I think McTominay and Fred just played with an eagerness and played the occasion. Played the occasion instead of thinking about, I'm playing instead of Pogba. Bruno really led the team well. Telles responded well to that as well for a debut. Luke Shaw, Lindelof and Tuanzebe played with a maturity as a back three. Everybody was focused, everyone was controlled, and they just went into it with a mindset that I don't think they would have gone into if Maguire or Matic or Pogba had actually started the game. So it was perfection. It was perfection, and Ollie deserves a lot of credit for that. The thing is, what happens against Chelsea at the weekend? Because, to be honest with you, and this might be a good or a bad thing from Ollie, if Maguire's fit, he'll pick him. And if Maguire's fit, he'll give him the captaincy. And then, if you don't beat Chelsea and you don't play like you did against PSG and you lose that fluidity, mobility and confidence, do you change a winning team? And do you change a winning team that's done so well in such a tough game? I think he's got to change the formation. 100% he's got to change the formation. And that may well be Luke Shaw, or it may well be Telles, or it may well be... Well, I think it will be Luke Shaw or Telles who comes out of the team, so it'll probably be Luke Shaw to go to a back four. I think Lindelof and Tuanzebe have got to start. They've got to start. And Bruno's got to stay as the captain. So, for the better... I think if Maguire's fit, and I'm sure he'll try and get fit, he'll play him. But I actually think it'd be better if he's not. I'd like to see this team... And it won't be totally this team, because I don't think we shouldn't be playing a back five against Chelsea, because they'll play with one up front for a start. So I wouldn't play a back five against Chelsea. But I think the core of that team should be the same. I mean, it's early days, but I would say you go with you play like you did against Newcastle, 4-2-3-1. You play McTominay and Fred again. You play Telles at left back, and you take Luke Shaw out of the team. Lindelof and Tuanzebe as centre backs. It's harsh on Shaw, but look. Mata didn't play last night. And then ahead of Fred and McTominay, I would play Bruno centrally. I would play Rashford up front. And I would probably look at playing... I don't know what I would do in the Mata and Dan James positions. But you could play Rashford and Greenwood. There are... don't forget about Mason Greenwood. So there are options for Manchester United. But... I wouldn't be looking to bring Maguire into the team, because I think Lindelof and Tuanzebe totally deserve to play. You can't drop one of those two. And if you're going to play a back five, you've got to play Luke Shaw. So I wouldn't bring Maguire back into the team. And I would like to continue this journey with Bruno as captain as well, because I liked what happened last night, and I want to see if it was a one-off or whether it actually is to do with the players responding to that. Martial can't be the man in a two. It suits him, says Robert McCormack. And hi Mark, do you think Ollie should continue to bench on Saturday versus Chelsea to get the maximum performance out of Pogba? Says Carbaton. I don't mind if Pogba plays, mate. I think Pogba came on against Newcastle, he did well. I think he did well against PSG last night. If Pogba starts against Chelsea, I think the jolt has been done. The message has been sent. I will drop big players if I need to. And let's not forget, Matic has been dropped for the last two games, which I think is probably more surprising than Pogba. Because I don't think Pogba's match fit yet. But Matic is a very important player for us. So I think Ollie has sent the message out. And whatever team he goes with against Chelsea, it's his decision. I don't think if he brings Pogba back in the team or Matic in the team, I still think the lesson and the message has gone out. So look, it's very exciting what's going to happen. And we're certainly going to see. I mean, Rab says that I think Pogba should start. I mean, look, I wouldn't be opposed to the diamond. I liked the look of that diamond, but the problem is, who are you going to play in the front two? Is Cavani really going to be ready against Chelsea? I don't think he is. Could play Greenwood and Rashford up front. Bruno as the diamond, head of the diamonds. You could play Pogba and Fred, and then McTominay. You could play that, and it also means Van der Beek will come on at some point. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a diamond. I'd like to see Pogba in that left side. Fred's got to play. I thought, you know what, as well. I just want to say, I thought Fred was magnificent last night. I really thought he was... I've always felt with Fred, and you can check it back over the videos, this channel has always been a supporter of Fred, And we've always said collectively that he needs games. He's not a player you can drop in here or there. Fred plays well when he gets backed. Fred plays well when he plays 4 or 5 games in a row. And that's always been the case with him. I've always said about Fred, he's the one midfielder we've got that is the midfielder that I think we need. The tenacious, quick player who just snaps at people's ankles and wins the ball back. And last night was prime example of that. McTominay will never be able to do it. It's just not the right physique. And Matic is too old to do it. Pogba's too attacking to do it, as is Bruno, as is Van der Beek. So to Fred is really important. Now, whether Fred can... Our midfield has been built of a 3 for a long time. It's been Matic or Herrera. It's been Matic Holding, and then it's been Herrera, Pogba in the early days, and then it became Matic, Pogba, and Bruno with that front 3. And I think we've always thought that's our best team. A front 3 and a midfield. But that midfield doesn't provide the defence with the support, and the front 3 doesn't provide the defence with the support. We've got to go to this... you've got to have... And I think Ricky's right. I don't think you've got to have 2 holding midfielders in front of your defence. But you've got to have 2 defensive-minded midfielders. And Fred, I think, gives us that. And McTominay or Matic gives us that. So I like the look of the diamond. And I'm evolving as a fan here. I never thought I would be saying, oh, let's not play a front 3 with the width. But Greenwood doesn't create chances. Rashford doesn't create chances. So why are we playing 3 players who don't create chances from the wings? We may as well give the wings up and allow Telles and Wan-Bissaka to get forward like they do. And then, use our midfielders. Man United, the place we're most strong is in the midfield. Pogba, Bruno, Van der Beek, Mata, Matic, McTominay, Fred. You've got 7 really good players there. And we need to take advantage of that. And also, look, one thing we're not suffering from yet that we will do is tiredness, fatigue and injury. If Bruno gets injured, then Van der Beek comes in, doesn't he? So, look, we've got depth, which is good. Scott gets skimmed easily, and he isn't a CDM. Van der Beek should be in that team, or Pogba. If Fred wasn't playing, we would have lost the midfield battle, says Gentleman's Lad. Well, as I said, I think Fred was absolutely fantastic, and I thought that... I'm just very, very happy this morning, and I just think that there are big things to move on from. And look, what I would say as well, Eric Bailly's out for 4 weeks. This was confirmed by Simon Stone last night. I think with Eric Bailly, he's with Jones and Rojo now. The experiment is over. I'm tired of it myself. If Eric Bailly can stay fit, then that he can be our centre back for the future. Well, if my mum had a penis, she'd be my dad. I know that's blunt, but it's true. It's true, isn't it? I think with Eric Bailly, no. It's over. Sometimes you can give people chances, and I really like Eric Bailly, but the boy is injury prone. He is injury prone, and we can't build a team, especially at centre back. You can't keep waiting to be fit. He's not going to be back until after the international break now. He's been injured twice this season already. How many times has he been injured over the last 4 years? He's injury prone. There's no point. You can be a backup centre back, but we can't ever use Eric Bailly as it's going to be Bailly and Tuanzebe as our centre backs, because he's never going to stay fit. And it's sad, because I think if Eric Bailly hadn't had an injury problem, he could have grown into a very decent centre back. But I'm just tired of that one now. I think it's a waste of our energy to even think about Eric Bailly, because he might come back and play. He's basically become Phil Jones, hasn't he? He's become a good Phil Jones. He comes back, he does well, gets injured. Eric Bailly out for 4 weeks now. So we need to move on from that. And the return of Tuanzebe is fantastic. And the great thing about Tuanzebe is we didn't buy him. He's come from the youth setup as well. So that always makes you like them more. And now, it's been so long since we produced a defensive player from the youth setup. I mean, you think about people like Wes Brown and Gary Neville and John O'Shea. But it's been a long time since we've produced a really top quality defensive player from the youth setup. So... look, Tuanzebe's got to stay fit. That's my only thing. I remember on match day versus Newcastle, I asked if we should play 4-4-2 like Fergie days, and you dismissed it. Then we played 4-4-2 and dominated. This tactic works for breaking down teams such as Newcastle. We didn't play a 4-4-2 against Newcastle, Sam. Mate, you might want to check it back. We didn't play 4-4-2 against Newcastle, and we didn't play 4-4-2 against PSG in the way that you think we did. 4-4-2. Like Sir Alex Ferguson, was 2 wingers, 2 strikers and 2 centre midfielders. If you play that in the modern game, you will get battered. You can play a diamond in a 4-4-2 where there's no width and you compact the midfield. But we didn't play a 4-4-2 against Newcastle. Rashford was up on his own. We played a 4-2-3-1. So we didn't play a 4-4-2. The 4-4-2 you're thinking about from the Sir Alex Ferguson days 20 years ago is dusted. You can't do that because you will get dominated. With 2 wide players and 2 people playing up front, your midfield will get killed in the modern game. Blackett is the GOAT, says DK. Yeah, I remember Tyler Blackett. We all hoped for him. And Mengi could be a player for the future AZ as well. We've got to beat Chelsea, says Kida. And that's where we're moving towards now, isn't it? We're moving towards that Chelsea game. And I'm nervous. You know, I actually feel nervous about that Chelsea game because I think we played so well last night. We got a great result against Newcastle. We're building momentum. The team's behind the manager. There's so much competition for places. All over the pitch, there's competition for places. I mean, look at De Gea in goal. I mean, I bet Henderson's there thinking, I'm on 140 grand a week. I thought I would have got a chance. He is on foot. David De Gea is on fire. And it doesn't help Dean Henderson. We're not playing a Carabao Cup game till December. But as I said, I think Henderson should have gone on loan somewhere. I think he was one of the Premier League's best. He was probably the Premier League's best goalkeeper last season. And you're not playing football. This is what always puzzled me. But the flip side is, well, he's the reason De Gea's doing so well because De Gea's so focused. But it doesn't do Henderson much good, does it? He should be England's number 1 in the Euros. He ain't going to be playing games for Manchester United unless De Gea gets injured. But De Gea is fantastic at the moment. Absolutely fantastic. He's back to his best. Matic is too slow to cover the ground. McSauce and Fred take 2 spots to do the job of 1. We end up giving strength to get team balance. It's an issue, says Mr. Glenn Johnson. Well, it's not an issue at the moment, is it? I think we're doing fantastically well. Please smash a like on the video, by the way. And make sure you subscribe if you're new. We are back again tonight. It's not an 8 o'clock show tonight. It's going to be a 7 o'clock show tonight because there are Champions League games tonight. So I think I'm going to do Liverpool Ajax as a watch along on That's Football. So we'll do a 7 o'clock show tonight on this channel. But have a good day. Lots and lots of reasons to be positive and happy. I'm over the moon with it. I'm already, but you know what? As Manchester United fans, we're arrogant. We're hungry. I'm happy with last night. I'm already moving on. I'm looking at Saturday and I'm already looking at, I wouldn't bring Maguire back in. I wouldn't give him the captain's armband and I wouldn't bring him back in. If Maguire's fit, why can't he sit on the bench like Pogba? I don't think any player in this team should be guaranteed a starting spot. And I think that's why we've done so well over the last 2 games because nobody's been afforded a start. They haven't. Nobody's guaranteed a place in that team. Even De Gea, like I said, look, Henderson could come in. All right, Wan-Bissaka's probably pretty much safe. I can't think of anyone that's going to come in for him. But every spot in that team... And we've got Cavani to come in as well now. So, look, this is the thing. I'm thinking about Chelsea. I'm thinking, no way does Maguire come into that team. Sit him on the bench. Keep Lindelof and Tuanzebe at the back. Can Tuanzebe play 2 games in 5 days? Well, we need him to. We need that pace at the back. But excited. Very, very excited. Nemo says if we can pocket Timo Werner, there's nothing else to be worried about. Well, look, that defence showed that it can pocket Neymar and Mbappe. So we need another performance like that. But I wouldn't go with a back 5. But that's for the preview and stuff like that. Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Reason to be happy. Reason to be proud. Reason to have pride. Love it. Let's keep this vibe going. Speak to you all soon.